Great to have you here. This is a wake-up sequence utilizing the practices of Hatha Yoga. So for the class, I have 2 blocks and 1 blanket, which we'll be using mostly in shoulder stand and shavasana today. All right, and I'll of course give options for those pose or for shoulder stand if that's not something that you'd like to practice normally. Let's start in by getting our seat. So I'm going to choose a block to sit up and let my knees relax and let my hips slightly tilt forward. It's a great way to start your practice. And then another great way in this wake up practice to get going is just to lower your eyelids or close your eyes completely if that's comfortable for you. And do a little practice of lifting the spine. So pull the chin in towards the throat, lift the back of the head, let the neck be very, very long. Pull the navel in towards the spine. Just stretch your spine, taking the back of the head up, up, up towards the point between the ceiling and the wall where they connect. Give a nice stretch to your spine. And then opening the eyes, bring your hands towards your heart center, Anjali Mudra this morning for grace and reverence of this wonderful practice that will help us to wake up and get going. So the peace mantra is what I'm chanting for you this morning. If you know it, please feel free to join in. If you don't, you can sit and soak up the vibe from all of us chanting it around you. Big exhale. You can certainly join us for Om, breathing in. Om Sahena Vavatu Sahena Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Twice again. Sahina Vavatu Sahina Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Last one. Sahina Vavatu Sahina Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. We end with Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just invoking a little more peace in our day. May we practice together in peace. May peace be our path. May we never have seeds of hatred for one another. This is the peace mantra. And releasing your hands to your legs, just holding on to the tops of the legs, lifting the spine once again. To get you really started in the morning, it's nice to have a little Kapalabhati, but it's not for everybody. So Kapalabhati means skull shining breath. It brings the energy up to the top of the head. It helps you to remove stuck energy in the lower parts of the body. It is forceful, but we can also make it not so forceful. So the forceful part of Kapalabhati is where you pull the belly button back to the spine as you're exhaling through the nose. It doesn't have to be so strong like I just showed you. It can be lighter and slower, a little more peaceful. Or you can really give a good burst. Now, those of you with epilepsy, vertigo, have a tendency to get dizzy in these postures or this pranayama, then please take the very slow and a little easier version. Also, if you have heat-related issues, gastric issues, high blood pressure untreated, then you'd want to go for the lighter version. Again, the lighter version looks like this. Still pulling the belly button back to the spine, utilizing the abdominal muscles, but without the great force, okay? So we're gonna try this for 30 seconds, and you can go really slow, or you can go fast. It's up to you, or somewhere in between, it's fine. Bring your hand to your navel. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Chin stays in towards the throat. And begin with your first exhale. Breath in. Great way to get your energy flowing. Boost your metabolism. Releases stuck energy. You have time for 3 more, like slow. If you're going fast, stay with your fast. I'll tell you when we're done. Now on the last one, hold the air out. Chin comes toward the throat, Mula Bandha is engaged. Lift your pelvic floor, and then inhale. Come to Ujjayi breath. So slightly constrict the throat and find your Ujjayi breath. This is the breath that makes a sound on both the inhale and the exhale. That will help calm any frazzled nerves and continue to build the heat in the body. Ujjayi pranayama means victorious breath. Helps you to build heat, but also to calm any crazy nerves. All right, we're gonna try one more time for 30 seconds, going at your own pace. Ready? Breathing in and out through the nose, no Ujjayi. Begin. Slow or fast. Now we'll hold on the inhale. So inhale, only holding for 3 seconds, pulling in the chin, lifting the pelvic floor. 1, 2, 3, and release. And as soon as you release, release with Ujjayi breath. So start to constrict the throat. Tongue raises to the roof of the palate and just gets behind the teeth. Gaze down along the line of the nose. We'll be here 1 whole minute in Ujjayi pranayama. You can even close your eyes if that feels better. Make sure you can hear the sound on both the inhale and the exhale. Last big breath here, nice and slow and long. Well done. Pranayama is a wonderful way to wake up. Great to get your energy flowing through your energy channels, your right side and your left side, your Ida and your Pingala. All right, we're gonna come to child's pose. Now, if you're on a hard floor, feel free to take your blanket and put it under your knees. And Balasana is a nice way to stretch your spine in the morning. It looks simple, but there's a lot going on. There's a beautiful stretch on both sides of the spine. We're going to take the arms very long today in this pose. So reach your arms forward. Now your bottom doesn't have to reach your heels. If you have tight knees, difficult flexion in your knees, you can keep your bottom higher. If you don't, if your knees are fully functioning and happy today, then bring your bottom towards your heels. Forehead tries to come down. Hands can be very wide, wider than your shoulders. Keep with your Ujjayi breath, please. And notice. So your job here is to notice if your breath is ragged, short, longer on either the inhale or the exhale. With your Ujjayi breath, start to bring them into equilibrium. So find a count for you. Inhale, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale for the same count. If one feels strained, go down a number. Go down one notch. Maybe your breath is at 6 or at 8. But it should be equal on the inhale and the exhale. The longer you stay, the better the benefit. You should start to feel that the low back is opening. Now slowly turn your palms up in this posture, trying to bring the thumbs toward the floor. Palms are facing up. You're going to feel this more in your side body, your upper back. Nicely done. Inhale coming up for cat-cow. Excellent way to start pumping beautiful fluids up from the sacrum through the spinal column, and also to work on your extension and your flexion of your spine. So spreading the fingers nice and wide, walk your hands just a little bit in front of your shoulders to take the deep creases out of the wrists. Drop the belly, lift the head, look up between your eyebrows and inhale. Exhale, round the spine, look into the navel. Inhale, drop belly, lift head. Exhale, round. Inhale, exaggerating each movement. Really dropping the belly, really lifting the head. Exhale, round. Really rounding the spine, pulling the navel up high towards the spinal column. Press the fingertips down. Now, take 2 more at your own pace. Try to find that equal breath. Equal breath means equal, calm, peaceful mind. Great way to get started. Now come back to a neutral spine. Stretch your left arm forward. Take your right arm to the sky. And with the palm facing up, slide your right hand under your left arm. Bottom can stay high. If you need a deeper stretch, lift your left knee, stretch the leg back. Get a little more space through the side body, through the back. One more breath. Staying in the postures long enough to really inquire within. V.K.S. Iyengar said that the posture begins when you want to leave it. And then bring the left knee down and come back to neutral. Take the left arm up. Right hand can go a little forward. And exhale, slide your left hand underneath. Palm is facing up. If you want some more space, lift your right knee. Feel the beautiful stretch going on in the upper back. A nice twist going on in the spine. This is good for digestion, for the spinal column, decompressing the spine, all the way through the neck. Looking under the right arm. We'll be here for 4 more breaths. Slow, equal inhale to exhale is your goal. And then slowly bring the right knee down and bring your left hand back. Nicely done. Let's try a little stretch into downward facing dog. So bring your hands down and lift your knees, stretch it back. Stretch your tailbone high, move your blanket if you had one. Dropping the head, shaking out the neck. Active legs, active fingers, active base of the hand. Nice. Now look forward and slowly walk to the front of your mat. Grab your 2 blocks if you have 2. If not, you can put one on high. And bring your hands on the blocks. Inhale, straighten the legs as much as possible as you lift your torso here. Good. We're going to bend the left knee, trying to straighten the right leg, and lift your right arm. Taking a twist to the right. I'll show you what that looks like from the front. Bending the left knee deeply, gazing beyond the right hand. Being patient in the posture. First, we set our foundation. Then we check in with our breath. Our foundation here is our feet, our bent left leg, our right arm lifting. We check in with our breath. How does it feel? Then we lift our gaze and we set our drishti, our focus. Our focus is beyond the right hand. And it takes patience for all 3 of those. And then we stay with unattached awareness. Let's take 3 more breaths here. One more breath. Nice, and then slowly bring the right hand down. And let's try the other side. So bend the right knee, give it a nice bend. Right hand is just below your nose. Inhale, open through the left. Right knee is deeply bent. Check in with your foundation, your toes. Make sure you're pressing through the ball of the foot and either side of your heels. Your right hand is firmly on the blocks or the floor. And then you check in with your breath. Does one feel longer than the other? You're having a hard time breathing in this twist? Make your spine a little longer and not round. You can even take your blocks forward a little bit if it feels difficult to breathe. And then set your gaze, looking up beyond the left hand. 3 more breaths. Two more breaths. And 1 more breath. And bring the hand back down again and just relax your hands away from the blocks. Shake out your head, shake out your arms.
Your knees can be bent or straight depending on how your hamstrings feel this morning. I want you to bend your knees very deeply. Bring your hands to your waist and stick your bottom out. Inhale, come up slowly, using your core strength, use your legs, use your feet, use your foundation. Nicely done. We're going to practice a little warm up, crossing the thumbs. Inhale, lift your arms nice and high, just to warm up the big muscles of the body. Exhale, forward fold. You can bend your knees. Inhale, take the right foot back and the right knee down. Now for the first round of this, of course, you can also put your blanket under your knees. Bring your hands behind your back. Pull your shoulder blades together. This nice long lunge, crescent moon lunge, or kapayasana, it's called. Lift your heart, turn your gaze high, and feel all that's going on. Feel what parts of your body you're waking up. Your hip flexors, your chest. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades together. Hips are square towards the front of your mat. Keep your hands not touching your back if you can, away from the back. 2 more breaths. Keep pulling your left leg in towards the center line, squeezing your right leg internally as well. 1 more breath. And release your hands. Now for this next one, you may want to bring your block to the inside of the left foot. We're going to bring our right knee under the hip, so we have a nice 90-degree angle here. Left hand comes down to the inside of your left foot, and you're going to squeeze your arm against your inner thigh and open to the right. So set your foundation. Make sure the top of the right foot is firmly planted. Left foot is firmly planted. Find your breath. And once you found that, keep your breath as you gaze upward. If that's too much on your neck, you can gaze straight ahead to your far right. Keep the squeeze going on between your left arm and the inner leg. And the inner leg is pressing against the arm. Good, and then bring the right hand down. And let's stretch ourselves back to downward facing dog. So keep your block handy. Take a nice stretch back down to down dog. Feel a difference in the body from when you first came to your yoga mat today. Downward facing dog can be modified by lowering the knees and stretching the arms forward, bottom not touching the heels if you'd like. Next step is to look forward and step the right foot forward, left knee down. So this time we're taking, in the first round, we take the leg far behind, left knee far behind right heel, but there's an internal rotation of both thighs, really strengthening the inner legs. Find your foundation, press down through your right foot, press down through the top of the left foot, all the toes trying to reach the floor. Reach your hands back, interlace your fingers, pull your shoulder blades together. Now check in with your breath. And turn your gaze upward towards a point between the ceiling and the wall without having to lift your chin too high. You can turn your eyes up without having to lift the chin. Roll the right hip slightly back, left hip slightly forward. You're getting an intense stretch on the left hip flexors. If that feels too intense, you can bring your left knee a little further forward. Two more breaths.
Great, and then bring the hands down, and let's find the left knee under the left hip once again. Grab your block, if you'd like it, and put it on the inside of the right foot. Right hand comes down, arm places firmly at the inner right thigh. Inhale, open through the left. Set your foundation. Feet firmly on the floor. Find your breath and gaze upward. Again, if it's not comfortable, you can keep your gaze far left instead. That's okay. Just not down if that can be avoided. This is an up pose. Energy is moving upward. Excellent posture for waking up. 4 more breaths. One more breath. Nicely done. And bring your left hand down, taking your blocks to the front and step forward. Let's just hang here a little bit. Since we've already had one really nice forward fold, you can get a little deeper. Cross your hands on the inside of the arms and shake your head out here. Good, take one more breath with me. And then bend your knees deeply. Take your hands back to your waist again and slowly come up, being cautious not to get dizzy. Open the hands. Turn your palms open towards the front of your mat. First posture is warrior one. So let's take our feet wide as if you were walking on railroad tracks, right? Or as wide as your hips is fine. If you like them a little wider for more support, you can do that. It helps you with balance. And soften the knees. We're going to step the left foot back for Virabhadrasana 1. So stepping the left foot back in a comfortable position, like meaning not too far back, where there's strain in the ankle or the leg. We want to turn the left toes to somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock so that it can facilitate the hips coming forward. Right? If we have our toes open to 90 degrees, you're going to hurt your back knee when you bring your hips forward. So make sure the toes turn slightly inward. Now you also want to get a really long tailbone. So pull your pubic bone towards your navel. We're setting up the foundation. Spreading the toes, pubic bone towards navel, hips facing square. And then you can add your arms. Just come to cactus. Arms out to the side, so it looks like this. Good. Arms, your elbows are as high as your shoulders. I want you to pull your hands back a little bit, but don't let your rib cage come forward. So keep the length in the low back. Keep the length in the torso. Turn your gaze up without lifting your chin too high. How's your breath? Three more breaths. Keep your spine long. 2 more breaths. One more breath. And releasing the hands, step forward. Shake out your shoulders. Let's see if we can find that same stability on the other side. So we're going to step the right foot back now for warrior one. This is an excellent hip awakener, leg awakener. Spread your toes. Look back to your right toes. Are they somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock? That'll make it easy to bring your hips forward. Square them to the front of your mat. Now let's find that long tailbone. So lengthen the tailbone towards the floor so we're not jutting our rib cage forward and getting an excessive curve in the low back. Pull the navel in. Pull your pubic bone towards your navel. Great. And check in with your hips again. Now lengthen through the torso without jutting your rib cage forward. Inhale to cactus, or if you feel comfortable, you can bring your arms up or even palms together. But watch what happens to the ribs when you do. If they jut forward, maybe you want to bring it back down to your cactus. 4 more breaths. Spread your toes. Breathe evenly. And turn your gaze upward. That requires a lot of balance to turn your gaze up. If that's too difficult, you can keep your gaze in front of you or towards the floor for a little easier balance. Good. 1 more breath. And releasing the hands and gently stepping forward. We're going to try reverse warrior 1. So the balance gets a little bit trickier because we're going to be lifting up and reaching back. So make sure your feet are nice and wide for this posture. Step the left foot back and let's find the toes open again between about 10 and 11. Front knee bends just over the ankle, squaring the hips. Find the long tailbone, spreading the toes, active legs, long spine, and let's take the left hand down, the left leg. Inhale, reach your right arm up, but then let's take it a little bit higher with your right arm, and then see if with your gaze upward, you can find a balance here. Make sure you're lengthening the spine and you're not just using your low back. Your spine should be as long as possible. Extend the spine. So the crown of the head is reaching up. Heart is lifting. Because your gaze is up, it makes it a little more challenging for the balance. Again, you can turn your gaze in front of you or even towards the floor if that's easier. 1 more breath. And release your hand and step forward. Let's try the other side. Step the right foot back. Right toes go between 1 and 2 o'clock, squaring the hips. Spread your toes, sink in, set your foundation. Hips squared, thighs internally rotated. Long tailbone, pubic bone to navel. Inhale. Take your right hand down your back, right leg, lift up. Try not to come out of the bend of your left leg as you lengthen your spine. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Watch when your rib cage juts forward. Pull it in and lengthen. Try to get taller in the posture versus a big back bend. Three more breaths. Good. 1 more breath. And releasing the left arm, step forward. That's a lot of waking up. All right, next is Trikonasana. So I'm going to leave my blocks there for now because we're going to practice Trikonasana on the long side of our mat, but a parallel Trikonasana. So bring your legs apart in a comfortable position, something you think you can hold for about 8 breaths on each side. Active legs, spread the toes, lift the arches of the feet. So set your foundation. Inhale, extend the arms out. Reach far right and right hand comes down. Lift the left palm, turning it upward. Reach it towards the midline and then lift up today. Lift up from the midline all the way up. Gaze stays forward in this posture. 5 more breaths. Keep the reaching up, moving energy upwards, not letting it stay stagnant and stuck in the lower realms of the body. Good. 1 more breath. Inhale, come back. Exhale, release. Inhale, open the arms. Let's go left. Reach far left. Take the left hand down. And then turn the palm towards the midline. And now reach up with your right arm. So you really feel some opening going on at the top of the hip. Active legs, gaze forward, 8 breaths. Keep the reaching up. Really active legs. Last 2 breaths. One more breath. And inhale and exhale. Stop for a moment and breathe. Wayne Dyer is famous for saying you can't control always what goes on outside, but you can control what goes on inside. You can control your breath. You can control your foundation. It helps to set a gaze in one place. That helps to control what's going on inside in the posture. Let's take a more classic Trikonasana, triangle pose. So we're going to reach for our block, one block, and straighten the right leg. My right toes open up to what would be 12 o'clock if I had a clock on my mat. My back foot stays at 90 degrees or parallel to the back end of the mat. So grabbing your block in your right hand, extend your arms out and swing your hips left. So you want to get them off center so you have a beautiful fold from your right hips. Now look to your block, please, and reach far right and bring the hand down. Maybe the block doesn't give you enough lift. You can always put your other block underneath it, option 1. Right? Or let your hand be on your shin or your thigh. But we don't want to crunch the right side. We don't want to collapse there. We want to keep it nice and open. And we also don't want to collapse in our left shoulder. I know you're about breath 3 of 8. I'm giving us credit for those breaths while I'm chatting. And turn your gaze upward if you can. If you feel you have your breath, if you feel you have your foundation, the last step is to gaze up. Two more breaths. One more breath. Now bend the right knee and slowly come out. Grab your blocks. If you use 2, take them both with you. Feet come parallel again. Turn your left toes long and set up that spot. Maybe if you used one block to place your other block on, have it ready. Facing the side of the mat. Let's extend our arms out to the side. Swing your hips right so you get this really long sides. Look left and reach, 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 keeping your right shoulder open, right side of your ribs open. And your block can go to on top of the other block if you'd like, or your hand can be on your shin or your thigh if you really want to stay open. And then setting your foundation, active arches, ball of foot is active, heels are active, legs are active, hips are open, and then start to check in with your breath. And then gaze up if possible. Take one more breath. Now soften your left knee and gently come out. Turning your feet to be parallel once again, you can move your blocks to the front of your mat or the side of your mat, but in front of you. So I'm going to take my toes slightly in and my heels slightly out and just shake my hips a little bit. It feels really nice after those postures. Get some freedom there in the hips. Good. And then let's bring our hands, come back to neutral. Bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, lift your heart so you get a really good stretch of the spine. Breathe in deeply, looking up. Exhale, watch your foundation. Toes in the floor. Reach your hands up and over the head.
Gaze into your navel. Go slow, 8 breaths. All the toes touching the floor. Ball of the foot active, heels active, breath peaceful. Gaze at navel. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, 3 more breaths. Active legs. Good. Now only coming up halfway. Release your hands first. Walk your hands towards your blocks. Great. Bring your blocks a little closer if you need, so you get a really long spine. We're going to take our left hand over to our right block, and then you really want a long spine. You don't want to round it. It's the longest spine possible. Even if you have to move your block forward, let's open through the right. Twists are great for waking up. Set your foundation, check in with your breath, and then set your gaze. One more breath. And bring your hands down. Walk your right hand over to your left block. Lengthen your spine. Even if you need to move the block forward, do so now. And inhale, open through the left, but don't let your right foot come off the floor. Press weight into the right ball of your foot, right heel, all the toes of the right foot. Active legs. Activate your muscles. How's your breath? And gazing upward if you can. If not, looking far left is okay. And exhale, bring the hands down and bring the hands back towards your feet. Soften the knees, bring your hands to your waist and gently and slowly coming up. Stop and breathe. Hands beside your legs. You can close your eyes or keep them open. And to get ready for a delicious balancing pose, we're going to open the low back with malasana. So bring the feet closer. You may choose today, if it doesn't feel comfortable, to sit on your blocks. So I'll show you what that looks like. First, I'll show you malasana, garland pose. We're going to turn the toes out and the heels in, hands to the heart. Bend your knees slowly. Garland doesn't have to be very, very deep if you don't want it to be. And you're going to come down. I like to bring the feet just a little bit closer and lift your heart. So the collarbones are lifted and the tailbone drops. You try to get the spine to be as tall as possible. This is one option. And another option is to sit on your blocks and take your hands between your arms between your thighs and lift your spine. Either one is just fine. Closing the eyes, picturing a long, strong spinal column and the muscles around it supporting the spinal column. Long low back, open low back. Three more breaths. Great way to relax the low back while opening the hips. Now, coming up slowly, slowly as you can, and release your hands and your shoulders, bringing your feet closer together. I'll move my blocks. All right. Tree pose, Vrikshasana, is our one-legged standing balance today.
You're welcome to use a wall. I love to come against the wall for this posture. So if you're like me, you're welcome to use the wall. And we're going to bend the right knee and then open the right hip. And this can be your tree pose. Just don't let your hips swing out to the left here. You want to keep them in a nice straight line. So the ankle and the hip and the shoulder are in one beautiful straight line. Lifting your right leg anywhere you want. It can be here, it can stay here. It can be at the inner thigh, opening your right hip. Pull your left hip in and get tall. Hands start at the heart. Gaze can be down, or you can challenge. You can lift your gaze to a point in front of you. You can look up. You can even start to close your eyes if you really want a good challenge. We're only staying 6 breaths in this posture. 2 more. And releasing the hands and release the leg. Great. Shake out your left ankle. And let's bend the left knee. Set your foundation through your right leg. Your hip is aligned, nice and strong. Open your hip, your left hip, and lift the leg if you desire. Keep strong on the right side, right active glute, active leg. Your foot presses against the inner thigh like you would leave the impression of your foot on your thigh. There's a lot of energy going on there. Hands at the heart. Now just lift your eyes for more challenge. Gaze is down to start. If you can, bring your gaze to a point in front of you that's not moving. And if you want, a little higher to the point between the ceiling and the wall. Check in with your breath. Does your breath change as you lift your eyes? If it does, go back to a place where you can find your balance with your breath. Equal inhale to exhale. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Bhagavad Gita. Keep true to your breath. Last breath. And releasing the hands, release your leg. Great. And shake out your right leg and your right hip. Okay, we're coming down to the floor now. And we're going to need our blanket and one block. So laying down all the way on the floor for just 5 breaths. Turn your palms up. Separate your feet. Just take a moment to catch your breath. Catch your equal breath. One more breath. And then soles of the feet are on the floor. Hands reach towards your heels. Pull your shoulder blades together. Lengthen the tailbone towards your heels. Palms down. Inhale, lift your bottom. Option to bring a block under your bottom and stay there instead. Otherwise, lifting. You can also go on medium if you'd like for the block under the sacrum. Keep pulling your legs towards one another. If they start to splay, you can take your other block and put it between the thighs. Spread your toes. Press your ball of your foot down, your heel. Inner legs are active. Chin is to the throat, regulating the thyroid. And you're watching your navel rise and fall.
One more breath. And lifting your bottom, remove the block and bring your bottom down. Take the left leg long, please, and bring your right knee in towards your chest. And slowly cross the right leg over to the left. Extend your right arm long, looking right. Just 5 breaths. We're neutralizing the spine after that back bend. And bring it back and release the right leg. Take the left leg in, nice and close, and cross the left leg over to your right. Looking left. One more breath. And all the way back. So to prepare, coming to your side body and lifting yourself up, to prepare for shoulder stand or just lifting on your block, with your bottom on your block, grab your one block and your blanket. So your blanket can be folded a little wider than the spinal column and laying down on your mat. Your head will hang off of the blanket. Your shoulders will be right here at the edge. You do have the option not to come all the way into shoulder stand, just to bring your bottom to a block. So you can start there once you make sure that your shoulders are hanging off the edge of the blanket. And bring your bottom to a block if you'd like, pulling the knees in towards the chest. We can all start here. If you don't want to use a block, you want to go for halasana into shoulder stand, you can follow along with me next. Otherwise, if you're using your block, you can lift your legs. You can even squeeze another block between your thighs and really active legs pressing up. Excellent way and safe way to get a nice inversion. Otherwise, remove the block and pull the knees in. We're going to take the feet behind the head or legs parallel above the body. And bring the feet, so option to stop here, legs parallel, or bring the feet all the way back. Now, please don't move your head right or left. Just listen to the instructions. Inhale, lift the legs. We're just here 8 breaths today. Chin is directly at the throat. Again, regulating the thyroid. Keep trying to get taller. Two more breaths. One more breath. Now take the legs parallel to the body or feet overhead once again. Stretch your arms long. Give yourself a nice stretch. And then bring the palms down and use them like breaks. If you're on a block, bend your knees, take the soles of the feet to the floor, and gently come down. We're going to use our blocks today. Roll to your side and our blanket. So for a counter posture, we're going to put the block nice and long, and this is going to be horizontal. This is going to be under the shoulder blades. And then take the other block and put it ahead of you for the top of the head. I like to use my blanket over this one to make it a little more comfortable. I'm going to lay down and then lift the chin and try to get it as close to the top of the head as possible. Right. If it's very comfortable for you, you can, of course, remove the block, but that's quite a waterfall for the neck. So be conscious of that, especially if you have balance issues, vertigo, epilepsy. Don't go too far, too deep. If you tend to get dizzy, just keep your head on the block. And you can lift the chin.
big, long breath. So we're going to take a big breath in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. 2 more. One more. Nicely done. You're welcome to stay here for Shavasana. Even turn your block up that's under your head to medium. It's a nice feeling to lift your heart this way. If you want a little more uplifting Shavasana, if you need a little more energy today, you can stay here. You see how my head is propped with the block on medium. Okay, my heart is still over the lower block. So you can stay here or come to your side and lay flat on the floor. Blanket is folded. Maybe you'd like to have it under your head. You could also use your blocks under your knees if you'd like for a little more support in the low back area. Separate your hands from your side body. Separate your feet. And allow yourself to just be. Be very conscious to not go into mental gymnastics of the day ahead of you. That's key for this warm-up, wake-up practice. Stay right here a little longer. Give yourself the gift of being present in this wonderful moment. You've worked hard in your practice. Now is the time to receive the benefit. So without using your hands, alternate nostril breathing. Inhale, left nostril. Use your mind only for this. And exhale, right nostril. Inhale, right. And exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. And exhale, left. Now breathe in through both nostrils. And breathe out through the mouth, like you're releasing any steam. Letting go of any unsaid words. And then return to breathing in and out through the nostrils. But try not to control it. Feel the breath happening to you. See if you can watch your body breathing. Just become the watcher, not the doer.
Just the watcher, not the doer. Now see in front of you a beautiful road. Maybe the road is full of light, of flowers, of positive energy, of people you love. And see yourself walking down that road, smelling the scents that you love, seeing what you love, feeling energized, feeling ready for your day. See everything going well today. Better than you could have possibly imagined. Everything working out. All of your tasks completed by your day's end. But completed wonderfully, with ease, with grace, with kindness, and with great peace. Start to make small movements through your fingers and your toes. Move your wrists and your ankles. Stretch your body in a way that feels comfortable to you. And then bending your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest and just rock a little right and left. Giving your low back a nice massage. Then roll over to your right, smiling, knowing that the best is yet to come of your day. This was just your wake up. Just the beginning of a marvelous day. And then bring your left hand down to the floor and gently bring yourself to a seat. Sitting on a block again if you'd like. Closing today with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Om peace, peace, peace. Exhale the air and inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It's been an honor to lead your practice. Have a wonderful day. Om Shanti. Thank you.